I'm called Pastor Kabugo Patrick, and I'm pastoring a church called Kakoge Pentecostal Church. And beside me here is my wife, Agnes Kabugo. The leaders up to the top leaders, even at the district level, they have now come to know the importance of the church around. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say is the one most important thing? What would you say is the one most important thing you would love to communicate to fellow pastors from your experience as pastors? What is if you were given a chance to tell pastors one thing that you would really love to see come alive in their lives, what would that be?
I think one, the role of a pastor, just as the word is a shepherd. You know, a shepherd, one, he takes care of the sheep. Two, he leads the sheep. Then three, he protects the sheep. You know, he's supposed to feed the sheep. You know, one thing I see most of the pastors, most especially in Uganda, they are not fulfilling those roles. Eh? One, they are not feeding the sheep. Instead, they are feeding themselves. You know.
Most churches are self-centered. They normally they involve only their congregation. But now, since we're involved in, we've gone out to the community looking for the sick, extending our services to the sick people, to the hopeless. Now it has brought an awareness to the whole community that Christ is not about only just preaching about Him, but it's also about extending our material resources to them, our care to them. And it has really impacted our church. It has really impacted it.
You know what she's saying? There are churches here, they can get like for example, like Ashumi now, Life with Hope was in some of the churches around here. All the benefits, they would make sure that it's only the church members who are what? Who are benefiting. And yet when it came to Kakoge Pentecostal Church, they have seen a difference. You find the Muslims are benefiting. Even people who are pagans, they are what? They are benefiting. So that has really shown that what here Christianity is. It is about love. It is about extending an hand to. And as a result of that, the number of people would, when you talk that you are born again, they really see you useless. They look at you as if you are very stupid. But because of that, as a result of Life with Hope, right now when we go in the community, you rarely find people who will resist you and say, take out your nonsense. Basically, they will all sit down and listen because they can see what is being done to the community. Showed you where our home was. And the fact is, from our standard, we are not supposed to be in that place. One thing I thank God for my wife. She came and the house where we were, surely when somebody could look at it, you would be surprised. But we thank God. I think there is a reason why God put us there. One, that was the center of a lot of immorality, prostitution, drunkenness, witchcraft was there. And that's where God took us. The same way the same way Lot was taken Sodom and Gomorrah. He wanted in such a wicked generation so that he may be the light. And we thank God in that place, right now, there are people who testify and say, sure, these people are Christians.
And another thing is that we wouldn't have identified the people who are HIV positive who are this side before, because we wouldn't have known the state of the community. But the fact that we stayed there, majority of the people who are sick right now, we are living in that place or drinking from that place. So that is how we started identifying that so and so is sick and so is sick, and they will openly share with us freely. Why? We became friends with them, and that is how they opened up. They were freely to share what state they were in, and that is how they began also to bring the rest of the members to us. So I thank God for that place, that it really exposed that to the society to see the need of Kakoge.
A Christian must be all round. A Christian must be all round. The physical aspect must be catered for. The spiritual aspect must be catered. The soul aspect must be catered for. So we basically have to make sure that we extend all those services. Personally, I did some bit of agriculture, and once in a while we go to our church members and give them some advice on basically how to improve their gardens, how to improve their animals, we do some of those things, which does not happen to other churches. Yeah.
And another thing is that actually we are not only impacting the community and the other churches around, but even the government side is a little bit. It's because they are getting surprise of how we are taking over Kakoge, because one time there was this Save the Children organization that was in Kakoge, but we discovered that it was self-centered also. It was only meeting few people's needs around, and it was segregating. They were after a certain religion and a certain sect. And for us, what we are doing, we don't mind whether you're Catholic, whether you're what, we just give our services to it. Mm-hmm. So that is one of the things that is impacting this community so much, and even the government comes to them. Actually, most of the systems of Uganda's churches are like that. You find pastors, all the offering and the tithe is below, they just give it to the pastor. This is pastor's money, not for the church, not for the church development. That is why after sometimes you find the pastor prospering, doing so well, and yet the church is not doing well. Yeah. There is no cable, there is nothing totally, but the pastor is buying a vehicle, by putting on so well, and the focus is all about him. That is why you find most churches are like that. Yeah. Their pastors are doing well, but the church itself is not doing well.
Of course, a church or a ministry is like a kid, a young child. When it is given birth to, there are stages just to undergo. It cannot run when it is just a few months. And that's what we believe, that there's time for everything. There's time for everything. Yet we know God is going to do a lot of things through the ministry, but everything at its own time. That's why we are not so much scared of course, the needs can be there, but at the right time, God will provide one by one. Yeah.
This time we are just praying that, Lord, what you've done to Bombo Pentecostal Church, you are going to do it for Kakoge Pentecostal Church. And together we are joining our hands to see God's hand in this place.